So this is our new news feed. Now this is very interesting because what you'll have seen as a major difference, okay, with the new news feed is this whole thing between top stories, okay, and if we go down, we're going to get to recent stories. So we've now got this top stories at the top and then recent stories down here at the bottom. Now, where this is different, of course, is that we used to have two buttons up here, didn't we? We had one that said top stories and one that said most recent. And the most recent was pretty much every single post that was going on by all of our friends, and then the top stories were there through something called EdgeRank. Okay, so in other words, the more engagement you had, the more people were commenting on your post, the more affinity you had with the person that had posted, and the more recent the post, then the more chance that somebody's post was going to show up in your newsfeed. Very, very important for Facebook pages. Very important from a marketing point of view for a brand or a business with a Facebook page, because the more engagement that they have, then the more chance they're going to show up in their fans' news feeds. Okay, so for instance, you as a fan would go over to the Social Networking Academy, you'd hit the like button, but then if I didn't engage with you on this page, yeah, if I didn't get you coming back and commenting and talking the rest of it, if you literally liked me and then never, saw one of my posts again and didn't engage, then the chances of me showing here in your newsfeed were very slim. Okay, and the same with your personal profile. So the goal really is engagement, always has been engagement. Now all of a sudden we've got these top stories and there's only a few of them, and then we've got recent stories, and guess what? If I'm logged onto Facebook all day or I'm regularly on here, then I probably won't even get top stories. I'll mainly get just recent stories, okay, because I'm on here all the time. So let me just refresh and see if I do still get the top stories, bearing in mind I'm on here right now. Yeah, they're still coming up. But it's based on, if you're on here all the time, okay, then you won't see the top stories. I'll probably have to log out and log back in. You're just going to see the recent stories. So, what does this mean for EdgeRank? What does this mean for getting your posts to the top of newsfeed? What does it mean for pages? Well, what it means is you're going to have to work an awful lot harder to get an awful lot more engagement on your page in order to get into the top stories bit. But actually, let's just leave the top stories out at the moment. There have been tests being done over the last couple of days that show, and have been confirmed by Facebook, that actually not even all the posts are going to show up in recent stories. Okay, if you're not getting enough EdgeRank, if you're not getting enough engagement, or you're being spammy or things like that, then you may not even show up in recent stories. Okay, now, so today, the tests that have been done, and there's a really good website called EdgeRankChecker.com. Go and check out EdgeRankChecker.com. Okay, it talks about the newsfeed and EdgeRank, and it's doing lots of testing at the moment to do with how this is affecting top stories and recent stories. So it's new to all of us, okay? But basically, what they're doing is what they're saying is that it's pretty low at the moment. So that the threshold, if you like, to not get onto recent stories is pretty low at the moment. But one of the key things is if you're a page and you are constantly posting. Okay, so we've always said posting quite a lot on a page is a good thing because you want to get engagement and into people's news feeds. But if you constantly post, constantly, and actually you're essentially in people's faces, then there's a chance you're not going to show up in recent stories because you're going to be marked as spam. Okay? But what EdgeRank Checker do say, and what I've always said, and what Google says as well about getting +1s and about getting up the SEO, getting ranking in Google, okay, socially. Now, if you were at my future social search webinar, I talked about the fact that it's about authorship now, it's about credibility, and SEO is changing forever. Because it's going to be far more about becoming social and far more about people +1ing you and liking you and engaging with you and sharing your content, and that's how SEO is moving forward Very similar to that, it's about content and engagement. So if you are somebody who produces lots of great content, really good quality content, I keep reading this. Every blog I read, every post I read, every link, everything, that I'm reading and I'm investigating at the moment, to be able to give you guys the most up-to-date information. The one word that keeps coming out at me every time and time again is content, content, content. And the other night on my coaching webinars, one of my students said to me, "Joe, I just can't get people to my Facebook wall. I'm putting loads of content on there and I'm not getting any engagement." And the question was, are you using your own content or are you simply sharing content? The answer was, I'm sharing content. Guys, if you want to get seen, you're going to have to start producing your own content. Whether that be articles, whether it be audio, whether it be video, whether it be questions, whether it be really good notes, posts, whatever it is you want to do, you're going to have to start having a voice of your own and start to produce your own content. That's really going to be key, okay, for the success of your business online. So, top stories and most recent stories, the game remains the same. You've got to produce some good content and you've got to have people engaging with your content. Very, very important, okay? Now, what do I love about the newsfeed? What do I absolutely love about the newsfeed is the fact that you now have complete control over what you see. So right now, here I am on my main newsfeed and all I'm seeing is my top stories and then my most recent. Okay, but what if I don't actually want to look at all that gumph? I actually only want to see posts by people who maybe I follow myself. Okay, some of the people who inspire me. Some of the people who I've worked with, maybe people I've done JVs with, people that I just want to kind of keep up to date with. Well, check this out. I'm going to head over here to this list over here called Joe Barnes Recommends, okay, and I'm going to click on that bar there. That's going to give me now a news feed of only people who I've done JVs with, or I keep up to date with, or I follow, but just people that basically I would go out and recommend to other people, okay? So this is basically my news feed of those people, yeah? And I can create as many of these as I like. Okay, so this one, for instance, is family. Yeah, so this is all the people, these are my people in my family. Okay. And down here, I've got my IM list. So these are people who are people that I converse with to do with internet marketing. Okay. So basically, you can create as many lists as you like. Okay. And what we do here, if we go over to lists, you can see lists here. I'm going to click on this little more button. This is going to bring up all my lists. Okay, now look at this. I've even got a pages one, guys. Okay, I've got a pages one. Now, I haven't updated this one for absolutely ages and ages. I just had a pages one and I started shoving pages into it. Okay. Oh, hold on a second. That's not the one. I think I had a favourite pages one. Let me go and see. I might have deleted it. There it is. Favourite pages. Okay. So I can even put all of my favourite pages into a list and then just go and see all of the newsfeed updates of just my Facebook pages that I really like. Okay, maybe even I could have a list with like 2 people on it. Okay, I could create a list. Let's go into lists. Let's go into more and click create a list. Okay, and I will call it, what's the date today? 24th web list, and create a list. Okay. So I've now got that. I want to add some friends. So who have we got on the webinar tonight who's one of my friends already? Just tell me who's on the webinar tonight that's one of my friends. It takes a minute just to upload this actually. Here we go. Andrew Paul Smith. Okay, and who else? And Peggy Lim. Yeah. Rosemary. There we go. Okay, that'll do. So look, let's just say that I only wanted to see the updates from Andrew, Peggy and Rosemary, and that's all I wanted to see. So I've just created this list and I'm getting Andrew's the biggest. Andrew posts more than anybody else, but there's Rosemary. There's one from Peggy down there, and then Andrew, and that's it. Okay, now let's just say that these guys were my favourites. Okay, I really wanted, every single day I knew that I wanted to come in and see their news feeds, yeah, to see what they were up to. Well, over here next to the list, you can see this little button here, this little pen edit button. If I click on that, I can add to favourites. Okay, so I click add to favourites, and now all of a sudden it's up here under my favourites bar. So now every morning I come into Facebook, I log in, I go, go to my home, la-di-da. Oh, I wonder what Peggy, Andrew and Rosemary are up to. There they are, directly in my favourites list, boom, into their news feed, there they are. Easy as that. How funky is that? I mean, this is ultimate control, okay? Now, you know, what Facebook have done, very cleverly, in my eyes, very cleverly, is they've taken a feature that Google Plus has got, i.e. the circles, and being able to manage your lists in Google by groups of friends. They've taken that feature that everybody has been raving about for the last couple of months. Wow, circles are amazing. Being able to filter your stream is incredible. They've taken that feature and introduced it into Facebook, which I just think is very smart. Okay, and it is called a smart list, and the smart list is that the reason they've called it a smart list is essentially I've got a London area list here, for instance. Okay, so if any of my friends you know, become a friend of mine and they're from London, they'll automatically be put into the London area list. If I make a new friend from my old college and they've put in there that they went to Chichester College, they would automatically be added to my list. So that's why it's called a smart list. Okay. But that's basically, I can add anything I want into my favourites bar here. So I could put my page into my favourites bar. I put a group in earlier, my Facebook for Business group, which is the event we're holding in October. I put that from my groups into my favourites. I can put apps. Any apps I've got I could put up into my favourites. So you can make these great little favourites bars, and you can then obviously every day when you come in you can click on there and it's going to take you straight to your favourites. Okay, and you can make as many of these lists as you like. Okay, and you can put friends into, you know, more than one list. So I could have, you know, I could have a friend in Joe Barnes Recommends, and I could have that person in SNA Members, okay? Or I could have a personal friend, and I could also have them in my Internet Marketing list. Okay, so you can have more than one person in your list. So that is what I love about the newsfeed. What I love about the newsfeed. Now, the other thing, okay, that I would like to mention as well is this little button here. You can see, so for instance, that here's Andrew, okay, love Andrew, but I can go here and I could mark Andrew as a top story. Now this is going to become very important, this little button here, because you're going to get lots of people asking you to mark their stuff as top stories. You know how people have always said, oh, could you share my stuff and could you like it and all that kind of stuff. Now what you're going to get a lot more of is, could you mark my post as a top story? Because if I do, then it means that more people are going to see it as a top story. Okay. But if I didn't want to hear from Andrew, I could hide it. Okay. And then down here as well, Andrew's a friend of mine, so I'm automatically subscribed to Andrew. Okay. Now I can say I want every single update Andrew does. Or I can say I want most of his updates. I don't want to see absolutely everything, but I want most of them. Or I can click I really only want the really important updates. Now, the algorithm for only important is we're not sure about, but I've got a theory, and when we get to the timeline tonight, I'll share that theory with you of what I think is actually the only important updates. I think it's really based on some of the icons in your timeline. So excuse me, I just hiccuped. I'll share that with you when we get to the timeline. Now, at this point, I could unsubscribe from Andrew's status updates if I don't want to listen to his status updates anymore, or I could unsubscribe from Andrew. So if I really just don't want anything Andrew's doing anymore, I could completely unsubscribe. So you have complete control over that. The other thing I wanted to show you was to do with apps. Let me see if I can find an app. Okay, I was looking at one earlier. This is a link to Spotify. Yes, it is. There we go. Okay, so Neil's done a link to Spotify there. Now notice the extra bit that comes up at the bottom here, hide all by Spotify. So there are going to be a lot of apps coming on board over the next few months, a lot of apps, okay, because Facebook have changed the way apps work. They've made them far more intrinsic into the timeline, and lots more developers are going to be coming up with loads of apps. So now we've got this extra button here which says hide all by that app. So if you're getting inundated with apps in your newsfeed and it's apps that you don't want to see anymore, you can simply click hide all by that app, and that app is gone. It's disappeared. Finite. Okay? So let me just talk to you about how you post to your lists. Okay? So you've come up with these lists. Okay? You've got this list here that you really like, and what you want to do is you want to post just to that list. You don't want to post to anybody else. Okay? So what you can do is in the list itself, you can create an update which is going to go just to that list. Okay, so you can actually do a status update which will only go to that list by clicking update status from within the list. Okay, the other way you can do it is on your actual wall. You can click in here on status update, okay, and you can click down here on this little bar here, and you can choose, do I want this to go out to everybody? Do I only want it to go out to my friends? Or do I want to customize it? Okay, now you can click see all lists and go and pick a list from down here. So I could pick that 24th web list. But what if I wanted to send it to the 24th web list and I wanted to send it to 2 or 3 other lists? What do I do then? Well, that's where you would go into the custom. Okay, so if I click on custom here, now what I can do is I can add another list. Okay, just takes a while to 24th web, there we go, 24th web list and IM list. Okay, and family. So I can now pick more than one list, okay, to be able to send out my post to. Or I could decide to hide it from a list. Okay, so I could say, well, actually, I just don't want that list to see this. Okay, I want everybody else to see it, but I just don't want that list to see it. Okay, and that's basically how you would post just to those lists. All right,